Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of my TAG1 Any Percent tutorial. In this one, we'll be going over the Blood Swamps entrance and right side trial. Before I get into that, a few things to mention. First, you'll see a few extra details near my FPS counter. This is because I'm using a software called Desru, which stands for the Doom Eternal Speedrun Utility. The number 3.1 refers to the patch I'm playing on, the M means I have the macro enabled, and the F means I have blocked the internet connection to my game, which you can see is a requirement on the speedrun.com rules. The cheats enabled is pretty self-explanatory. I'm mentioning this now to avoid confusion, seeing as I haven't used this program in previous episodes. There will be a link to the Discord server where you can learn more about it in the description. Second, entering Blood Swamps does not refill your ammo in the current patch of the game, and in lower patches, it only refills ammo on the first time you enter the level. If you wish to practice this level by using the reset mission feature, I recommend making sure you have full ammo before entering the portal. Lastly, the portal here will activate a timer before opening up when it detects that you're close enough to it. So when spawning in, double jump and then double dash into it. Wait for the invisible wall to disappear and attempt to dash as soon as possible. While you're waiting here, if you used double shots in the previous fight, I recommend switching back your mods. Now that we're in Blood Swamps, we'll be introduced to the first yeet hook of the run. Yeet hooking means hooking onto an enemy, moving to the side to gain momentum, and slowing down time with the weapon wheel before releasing the hook. The game will give you speed for each frame the hook is connected to the enemy, which means this trick is unfortunately affected by FPS. On the other hand, the use of the weapon wheel to slow down time acts as an artificial boost to your FPS, so you should be able to get this trick consistently, even on lower frame rates. This particular yeet looks like this. After spawning into the level, use a ballista boost, double dash forward, and perform the yeet hook. The goal is to bump into this weird thing in order to redirect some of the speed gained by the meat hook into vertical momentum to fly through this section and skip a few triggers. If you fail that, attempt to go around the tentacle that's right here, which stuns you if you're close enough. You can manage even if the enemies related to those triggers are spawned, it'll just be a bit more annoying. Here's another clip of this yeet hook at full speed. Now that you're here and hopefully this Revenant and Mancubus aren't here to disturb you, start charging D-Blade, go over here and release while trying to get as many fodder demons as possible. Once enough have been killed, a Pinky will spawn over here and we're going to camp his spawn location and hit him with a Blood Punch as soon as possible. If you don't have a Blood Punch, dash into him with the energy shield and SSG his tail while he's faltered. Now you'll see this Marauder. As he spawns in, we're going to do what's called a Fun Zone. A Fun Zone refers to a setup to get the Marauder to use his Green Eyes attack immediately upon spawning by standing at a precise distance away from him. The Fun Zone distance works independently of angle as long as you're on the same elevation, so there are many setups, but since they all do the exact same thing, I'll only be showing you two. The first one asks you to align yourself with this part of the wall, and the second uses the ground right over here. Once you're in position, you'll wait for the Marauder to spawn and use a Slob One cycle to finish him off. If you fail any of these, I recommend waiting for another Green Eyes attack, and if the chance shows itself, you can always throw sticky bombs at his feet to deal some damage when he hasn't opened up. Here are clips featuring the two setups so you can get a better idea of how they look like. Could also gauge the distance without a lineup. It is important to note that the reason we attempt to hook over the triggers for that Rev and Mank is because Marauders turn their shield to block friendly fire as well as enemy fire, and if the Rev attempts to shoot at you but ends up shooting at the Marauder will stop everything he's doing to block the shot. If you didn't skip over the triggers, I recommend attempting to position yourself in a way that the Marauder won't be sandwiched between you and the projectile throwing bastards behind him. After he's dead, make sure no imps and soldiers are left and look for a zombie, which are typically in these 3 areas by this point, and hook off of them to get to here. If there's a stray imp left, you can hook off of it and shoot it while you're in the air for some efficiency points. Ballista boost to the water, and you can try to dash diagonally through here, but it's perfectly fine if you don't, as it requires knowing the inconvenient terrain, and this is also a very short swimming section. Once you're up here, you're going to do a dash boost off of this part of the wall, but instead of simply dashing forwards, you're going to use the weapon wheel to slow down time, release, and then dash as soon as possible. This dash boost is possible without the weapon wheel, but doing so is either inconsistent or slow. After you do so, you can add some optional ballista boost and send an ice bomb onto that platform as soon as possible. This will freeze the Baron that is supposed to jump down from there, allowing you to kill him smoothly. If you wait for the Baron to come into view before launching the ice bomb, the Baron might end up jumping down, as the jumping down animation is scripted and the Baron will not notice you until said animation has finished. Here's how it would look like at full speed. Otherwise, you can also wait for the Baron to jump down and make your way up with a hook or dash up this slope and into the climbable wall. And that's the Blood Swamp's entrance done. When the Baron dies, click this button and wait for the cutscene to end. Wall dash off of this wall and B-hop down this door, and use a ballista shot or 2 for the extra speed. As you can see, this arena has 2 entrances leading to 2 trials. The right side is called Ishi and the left Betrüger, but those names will get annoying if I say them enough times, so they will be reduced to right side and left side respectively. For the purposes of chainsaw and BFG routing, the any % classic route goes to the right side first. The door to the right side will take a bit to open, but once it does, there will be a soldier in front and an imp on a platform. Kill the soldier to free up some space, and we're gonna punch boost off of this imp. He can either end up on the edge or further back into the platform. Simply take note of his position as you get close, hug the platform, and aim at him through the geometry to perform the punch boost. The punch boost should work no matter if he's further in or closer to the edge, but in rare occasions he can be so far into the platform that the punch boost becomes really difficult. In those cases, you can attempt to climb the platform and jump back down to lure him forward, but there's a small chance that'll cause him to climb down, so be prepared. After the punch boost, add some ballista shots to reach a farther platform, like so. If the punch boost fails, make your way forward and hook jump off of these enemies. Jump down and make sure you enter the wolf's radius to activate it, then continue forward to chainsaw this zombie and kill the others when the wolf arrives. When the fight starts, there will be 3 waves. 3 soldiers, 3 more soldiers, and a cybermech. The soldiers have set spawns from all of these directions and choose between them randomly, so be on the lookout. Once 5 out of the 6 soldiers die, the cybermancubus will break through this wall, set down a grenade, and finish him off with an SSG blood punch. For the sake of showing the upcoming section more clearly, I'll be teleporting back here with the powers of movie magic and skip through the dog section, as when the dog starts an encounter, the rest of the area is covered in fog, which looks bad and stops me from showing you what I'm talking about. Once you have definitely gone through this section and finished the first dogfight, you'll be skipping the other encounters. Unfortunately, this is only possible in lower patches due to an invisible wall and invisible ceiling combo introduced in patch 5.0. Side note, because I'm a nerd, I have to clarify, the ceiling existed before patch 5.0, that update just introduced the wall. Current patch runners will have to play through the rest of the torch fights. I plan to explain those in the Blood Swamp's extras video. To skip the torch fights, you can either jump up the platforms like so, or do another weapon wheel dash boost on this small slope right here. The weapon wheel dash boost is a bit harder since you want to do it before the dog arrives, so only go for it if you're confident. Once you've made your way up here, you'll be going through this passage and continuing forwards towards the button all the way over there. There are a few things about this movement that should be mentioned before we continue. You would ideally want to ballista boost through this passage and hit a B-hop at the end. Afterwards, you hit another hop off of this tree right here and fly to the button. Try to aim to the right side of the tree branch, as the geometry is quite janky considering it wasn't meant to be traversed. If B-hopping off the tree proves difficult, you can instead go down here and perform a fade-in boost using this death plane. Fib for short. Drake has a great video covering those in the playlist below, so I won't go into how they work mechanically, but I will recommend adding a ballista boost after the fib in order to reach the button. You could always, of course, ballista boost through this section however you want if you don't wish to go for these tougher strats. Reaching the button is what matters here. Though I will show you a clip of the tree hop and the fib right about now in case you want to try those. Lastly, this piece of geo we climb over to get to the button faster doesn't actually require a ballista boost. You can simply use macro or scroll wheel to jump up as long as you wait for the apex of the first jump before using the double jump. You should need to use this tip often, but in the cases you would, it's always nice to save a ballista shot. And that's most of the right side done. After you've pressed this button, the big door over here will open. It opens really slowly, so go ahead and grab the ammo pickups to the side while it does. When you enter this door, a cutscene will start showing you how the room looks like. If you choose to do the harder strat for this room, you're gonna take advantage of this cutscene to perform a trick called cut speed, which is as simple as dashing into the cutscene trigger. This will cause the dash to end in the cutscene, but allow you to keep your speed, sending you flying forwards. Make sure you have the ballista equipped, dash into the cutscene, and once you skip it, jump and send a ballista shot downwards for the extra height to make it over to that monkey bar, which looks like this. Once you've done that, use another ballista boost from this monkey bar to reach the next one and make your way to the exit. If the cut speed proves difficult or if you end up failing it, you can instead jump twice and add a ballista boost to the second jump, dash twice into the bar, and exit the room as seen previously. After exiting the platforming section, jump ballista twice into this platform, then jump ballista over in this direction. You can jump through the platforms if you don't have enough plasma ammo. Walk into the swamp and chainsaw the tentacle that appears in front of you for the ammo. Once you've done that, we're gonna do a trick called BATS, which stands for Bring Up Animation Transfer Swap. The name is quite fancy, but the tech is as simple as equipping the heavy cannon, pressing mod swap, and swapping weapons right afterwards. Yeah, it's 2 inputs. If you use this to switch to the ballista, it'll cause your punch swaps to be faster, which makes this upcoming dash boost way easier. The aforementioned dash boost will be done on this piece of geo. The harder strat would be to put yourself in this position, making sure you're moving forward into the wall, dash, then immediately ballista down for additional height, then boosting horizontally in order to make it to the fight above, which looks like this. If getting enough height is an issue, I recommend taking note of where you aim the second ballista shot, as it should be around eye level. If it's too low, it will give you less speed, causing you to start falling down earlier. Otherwise, you can actually use this dash boost to make it to the tree right here, and then boost from there instead, which looks like this. The last backup strat would be to go up this pillar and use one of the enemies below to hook up, but it's a bit slower. Unfortunately though, skipping this encounter does not work in the current patch of the game due to an invisible wall blocking the top, so instead you'll just be going through this fight as intended. Kill some of these imps down here until the Hell Knight starts spawning, position yourself behind one of these cue balls and shoot them at the Hell Knight as it spawns. Finish him off and then another Hell Knight will spawn. Ignore the spirit, use a lock-on burst to kill him, and finish off the rest of the fodder, making sure to chainsaw the last remaining demon, and taking the jump pad to finish. And that's most of the right side pretty much done. Last but not least for this episode is the right side roof. The two roofs in Bloodstorms can be quite chaotic and therefore have lots of small options inside them that can impact the difficulty of the route you'll take. I'll try to cover each maneuver and its alternatives so you can just pick and choose which one looks better for you. But first, here's a clip of the fight being done at full speed. To activate the fight, simply walk onto this green circle right here. Afterwards, you can use a ballista boost over to that BFG pickup and strafe over to the Baron's spawn on the right. This ballista boost can be a bit tight, so if that ever proves difficult, feel free to just ballista boost right to the Baron. As you can see, I'm punching right after the ballista is shot. This is done to cancel the cooldown of the ballista, which allows you to start charging the D-blade much sooner. Throw a grenade to the nearby Baron, and once you're in position with both Barons in your line of sight, release the D-blade. Sometimes, the faraway Baron can jump down. You can still hit him, but it should be fine even if you miss. You can also double shot this D-blade if you're confident. Refer to episode 3.5 for how to double shot. Kill the Baron nearby, look for the Baron that's coming for you, and kill him as well. Both a grenade and ice bomb will work as long as the Baron can stop and give you time to finish him off, but it will affect the rest of the fight, which you'll see how very soon. If you skip the BFG pickup at the start, now is the time to get it. Go over to around this jump pad and shoot a BFG shot to this direction to kill off the arena. If your FPS is low, look down to attempt to raise it temporarily, which gives you a better chance that the BFG will kill the Arachntron here before the spirit actually possesses him. If for whatever reason you're not confident in that happening consistently, I recommend shooting the BFG from its spawn position instead and using an SSG blood punch as soon as he spawns and before the spirit gets to him. After that, there will be two Arachntrons spawning at two ends of the arena. If you shot the BFG from the jump pad, you'll be moving forward to grab this ammo here before they spawn, so that you can camp them with a D-blade, which you can double shot as well. If you went to the middle Arachnotron, you could kill the spirit for safety but sacrifice some speed, or attempt to kill the spiders before they get possessed. If so, make sure to look at which spider the spirit is targeting and kill it first. Here is when the equipment used on the Baron comes into play. Once the spiders die, an Archvile will spawn here, then a Doom Hunter here, then another Archvile right over there. Ice bombing the Baron would be the fastest choice, but you can use a grenade instead to save the ice bomb for one of these Archviles if they give you trouble. For both, we'll be slobbing them to death. Ideally, you time the slob so it locks on as early as possible by shooting the precision bolt as they spawn, but the time save from that compared to waiting until it spawns is minimal. If you shoot a lock-on at the Archvile, it has the ability to react by teleporting away. This is why it's so important to use the slob as soon as they spawn, before they have a chance to react, and use grenades to fall to them. Again, if they cause problems, make sure you're ready for them to spawn, and don't be afraid to abandon the slob and get close with SSG or use PB Rocket. After the first one dies, go up here and blood punch the Doom Hunter. Once it's off its sled, slob the other Archvile while grabbing the ammo on the floor down here, which we'll use to lock on the Doom Hunter, then finish him off however you like. The Doom Hunter is quite problematic in how he's capable of moving around pretty quickly. The most common places I've seen him is underneath the platform he spawns on, near the area where the first arch spawns, and sometimes he goes over this gap and ends up all the way over there. Once you find them though, he dies pretty quickly. Once all the super heavies are dead, every enemy besides imps and shield soldiers will get automatically killed. The shield soldiers aren't always alive by this point, but it's important to know that they won't be killed if they are still alive. Lastly, the spirit should now be released if the demon was possessed and was killed. So instead of killing it, you can actually use its tendrils to pinpoint the location of the remaining fodder. as they can be killed very quickly even if possessed. If one of them does end up getting possessed, use an SSG shot or two to kill them. You can also use the meat hook to stun them if they're being annoying. There will be 4 imps alive by this point, and the number of shield soldiers can range from 0 to 2, usually 0. Make sure to count the enemies so you chainsaw the very last one, which loses the least amount of time. It's not a huge time loss to not do this, but it's free. Don't feel bad if you need to chainsaw the 3rd or 2nd instead though. Imps are notorious for their unpredictability. Lastly, here's another clip of this fight being done at full speed, including the double D-blade shots. And that's the right side roof done. In summary, this episode went over the Blood Swamp's entrance, right side movement, platforming section, and roof. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.